There's some very good news on affirmative action. The Supreme Court has decided to take a huge case. This is the Harvard and University of North Carolina, two companion cases that deal with the same issue. And what is the issue? The issue is this. Should universities, this is particularly selective and elite universities, but it applies to a large number of universities, should universities be able to admit Black and Hispanic students who have vastly weaker academic preparation, vastly lower grades, vastly lower standardized test scores, vastly lower extracurricular skills? And should universities be nevertheless, and we're talking here not just about private, but state universities, should they be able to actively discriminate on the basis of race and admit weaker Black and Hispanic students while turning away stronger white and Asian American students? This has been going on for 40 years. And we're not talking about, some people when they think about affirmative action, they spout the kind of conventional nonsense about, well, we're talking about equally matched candidates and we're talking about someone no, we're actually not talking about that. We're talking about people who are completely different in terms of their academic preparation, sometimes a cognitive gap of 1, 2, even 3 years. And I can say this as someone who has sort of witnessed this affirmative action in action. I saw it all around me at Dartmouth. And affirmative action was upheld in the Bakke case. And then it was sort of reaffirmed in a case called Grutter versus Bollinger, which was 2003. So for decades now, universities have been allowed to do this. And universities do it under the pretext of diversity. We need a diverse student body. Now, this diversity business is a complete sham, because in fact universities have become much less diverse, at least much less diverse in the one kind of diversity that matters in academia, namely diversity of interests and ideas and philosophies and thoughts. The kind of diversity that should matter in a college, that diversity has gone down. And so what universities are after now is campuses that, quote, look like America. This is their justification, that they want a campus in which each ethnic group is proportionally represented to sort of reflect, as if to say that campuses are nothing more than photo ops, where you basically get to take pictures and go, wait a minute, blacks are 12% of the population. I was very happy to see that there were 12% of blacks in the Harvard freshman class. I mean, this is such a subversion of academic ideals, I don't even really know what to say. And the Supreme Court has looked the other way. Years ago, Sandra Day O'Connor said something to the effect of, well, we might need affirmative action for another 25 years and then maybe not after that. And this is the kind of utterly vacuous statement that, I'm sorry to say, comes out of the mouth of a Reagan nominee. Now, all that being said, I think the Supreme Court has had enough of this. And I'm delighted to say that they're going to be considering it. It doesn't obviously mean that there's going to be a foregone conclusion, but it's really hard for me to believe. In fact, this is a situation where even Justice Roberts is kind of hardcore. If you look at what Justice Roberts has been saying over the years, he has been emphatically saying that this kind of racial meddling, this kind of racial balancing, these sorts of these systematic racial preferences are the closest thing to systematic racism we now have in this country. And here I'm now quoting Roberts from a 2006 voting rights case. He goes, quote, "The way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race." I mean, a beautiful statement. Mirrors actually something I wrote years ago in Illiberal Education, and that is that the way to eliminate race as a factor in decision-making is to eliminate race as a factor in decision-making. The court case is going to be heard this coming October, so nothing is going to happen overnight. The case will be heard in October. The decision will probably come early next year, but I'm delighted to say that after not just years, but decades of putting up with this literally intellectual and moral barbarism of affirmative action, the court is finally looking at it, and I hope that having looked at it, the court will say enough.